Good afternoon, everyone. If you'll just give us a few moments for our attendees to be able to join the room, and we will start today's discussion. I do imagine we'll have a few more people join us, but to be respectful of everyone's time, we will kick off today. Welcome everyone to our third quarter Empowering Entrepreneurs webinar series of 2021, hosted by Select Fulton. Select Fulton is the economic and workforce development arm of Fulton County government. We work to stimulate development, help companies grow locally, and make sure we have a skilled workforce to support those great companies. As mentioned, again, today is our third quarterly webinar series, which we've created to support small businesses during these challenging times. It's essential that we continue to provide support and foster an environment for our businesses to all grow here in Fulton County, especially our small businesses. And today we have an exciting marketing and customer discovery expert that will help us understand, again, how to market to your customers, but also really how to discover those customers. So we have Lisa McGuire, who is the owner of Open Windows Marketing. She has nearly 20 plus years of marketing experience with service-based businesses, startups, and nonprofits. She launched Open Window Marketing to meet the needs for clear and authentic messages. So again, thank you for joining us at Fulton County today. But before we kick off with our main speaker, Lisa, we did want to invite a special guest, Commissioner Bob Ellis of District 2 of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, to offer us a brief welcome this noon. He has a strong passion for both community service and engagement, and a big believer in economic development and business support here in Fulton County. So Commissioner Ellis.
All right, thanks, Samir, and happy rainy Tuesday to everyone. It's a great day to be on a webinar, and certainly a meaningful topic for discussion today. As Samir indicated, I'm Fulton County Commissioner Bob Ellis, and certainly want to welcome you to this event, and thank Samir and his team for bringing this event together, and thank you really to all of you, Fulton County's entrepreneurs, for the work that you are doing in our communities every day. You are a critical part of the fabric of our communities, and certainly the success that you have, and the more success that you have, the more success and the better our communities and our county is. So certainly we recognize that at Fulton County, and the emphasis is placed on that throughout county government, and certainly by our Select Fulton team. I'm excited for this session, and to be able to listen to Lisa from Open Window and kind of have her insight on this particularly important topic. We know that so many of you have very limited resources, both time and certainly financially, but certainly time probably being the most. And figuring out how to basically, go about marketing your business and maximizing your time and energy so that it has a maximum impact on your business is certainly a challenge we know that all of you face. And I think Lisa's going to have some great insights to share on that. So thank you again for everything that you're doing for our communities, and welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Ellis. A great welcome this noon, and a great opening line. So now I'd like to turn it over to Lisa, who I know has a presentation that we will queue up and have her kind of go through. So Lisa, the stage is yours.
All right, so thank you so much, Samir. And I'm just going to make sure that we can see my screen. Everything awesome. Go there. Awesome. Okay, yeah. Great. Well, thank you everyone for taking your time out of your day. As Commissioner Ellis said, our time is one of our most precious resources that we have, and our companies are really pulling a lot of our time. They demand a lot of our time. And really, when you look at your company is like your baby. So you want to make sure you're doing everything you can to nurture and promote your business, to find the right customers, So today what I'd like to do is use the idea of marketing, but really talk about the 3 stories every business needs to tell in order to be able to market well. So we're going to kind of go back to a little bit of what I think is probably a lot of our histories. I'm an entrepreneur, small business owner myself, and I know a lot of you are out there as well. If you had a traditional job in the corporate 9 to 5, we left that option. And we chose entrepreneurship because we wanted the freedom and flexibility. We wanted the freedom to choose the hours we work, the schedule we work, the people we want to work with, to do the things that we love and the things that we're naturally good at. And so that was the pull that brought many people into entrepreneurship. But here's what you get is we thought of freedom and flexibility, and what we're getting is some days it's a roller coaster. It's dealing with all the things that come with business ownership, things that you really didn't expect before, and you just have the highest of highs and sometimes the lowest of lows. And so what you're getting is not necessarily that freedom that you were seeking. But here's the reason why it happens. It happens because we are juggling so many balls. Not only are we working in our business, delivering the service or product that we wanted to bring to the world, but we're dealing with things like managing people and trying to find the right clients. And perhaps there's issues with cash flow that we have to deal with. We have to do our bookkeeping. There's so many things that we're perhaps not as highly skilled at as we are with our passion. And so that is why entrepreneurship can be that roller coaster ride. So a couple things I want to present to you. We're all looking to grow our business, and there's 2 ways to do that. There's only 2 ways to do that. First is innovating. So if what you've been doing before isn't working, then taking a step back and evaluating and figuring out, okay, how do I need to change? And many of us experienced that over the last 19 months. We may have had traditional brick and mortar stores. Maybe our business was really finding new clients by word of mouth referrals. And when the world shut down as we knew it, we had to get creative. So innovating how we delivered our products and services, maybe even changing the scope of what that was really important to do. So if innovating is not enough to help grow your business, then the other thing we know that really drives business is marketing. And marketing for a lot of people, when I talk with small business owners, how do you feel about marketing? There's generally a pretty strong opinion one way or the other. And what I'd like to present to you is the idea that marketing can be really messy. Even if you are in marketing, even if your business deals with marketing, there's so many different types of marketing. It is so complex and it's always changing. So that's the thing is, even if you're in that area and in that industry, it can be very complicated. It's like working your way through a maze. And one time I had a client that really related is marketing is like an onion. It has so many layers, and the more you peel into it, the stinkier it can get. So that is the way a lot of people are looking at marketing, and they plan their marketing in a way that they feel like they've been marketed to, or they might be looking at what their competition is doing. But what I like to do today is perhaps switch up your perspective about marketing. Marketing doesn't have to be messy. It doesn't have to be like a stinky onion. Marketing, there's really 2 things I'd like to present to you today. And the first one is that marketing isn't about closing a sale. It's about opening a relationship. And going to networking events, that networking is one way to do marketing. But when you walk into a networking event and you look at the room as prospects versus looking at the room as your sales team, that can totally change your perspective. So what we really want to do is think about when you are in a relationship or you want to have a relationship. Let's think about choosing a partner in life. If you meet someone, you don't immediately ask them to marry you. You first find something that is intriguing about them. something that piques your curiosity. And then you have conversations where you get to know them a little better. And you see if you have like-minded values and interests. And the relationship progresses until it gets to the point of being serious. You could say the same thing about friendship. You know, we're not friends with everyone. There are certainly people that we're more aligned with than others. So really marketing is about a long-term building relation with someone, and it's piquing that interest, just like we do in personal relationships. It's getting to know about them until you can make the commitment that you want to do business with them. So think about that. Marketing is not about closing the sale. It's about opening a relationship. The next idea I'd like to present to you is marketing is nothing more than solving a problem for profit. Now, one thing I'd like to present, and Samir and I were speaking a little bit earlier about when people make elevator pitches. You know, a lot of times when people make an elevator pitch, they may be at a networking event where they have 30 seconds to deliver their elevator pitch. And a lot of times they start out by saying, my name is, you know, I might use one, my name is Lisa. I'm a marketing consultant. And immediately when you hear marketing consultant, in your mind, what happens is you've got this file drawer that you open and you've got a file folder marked marketing, and you immediately drop my name into that folder and you push the door shut. As soon as you say your name and what you do, you've closed off that conversation in your audience's mind. But if instead you start by saying, I would say, for instance, many people waste enormous amounts of money on marketing. Well, then all of a sudden what you do is you say, yes, they do. And that happens to be me. Or if I say many service providers struggle with how to talk about what they do, if you're a service provider, you're immediately going to connect in with that message. And if you're not a service provider, you know people who are. So what I've done in that instance is I've made you, instead of a prospect, I've converted you into being part of my sales team, where I talk about who I serve, the problem I solve, what I do, and how their life can be better as a result of working with me. So that's your first tip, is really honing in on what is the problem that you solve. And marketing is solving that problem for profit. So we're going to switch it up a little bit. I'd like to present to you the idea that we are in a very noisy world. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to give you some statistics about how much noise we experience each day. So the average American sends and receives 94 text messages a day. And again, that's average. So that means there's people on the top end of that spectrum. There's people that are getting a lot less, but 94, that's a lot to draw your attention. And then add on to that, that we receive an average of 121 business emails. Again, that's an average, but think about having to answer all these emails, having to file those emails, having to prioritize. What are immediate actions? What are ones that you have to get back to later? So all of a sudden you see your attention is starting to be drawn out and wane and really, being distracted. The other thing is we are served up between 5,000 and 10,000 visual ads, radio ads. If you're on podcasts, wherever you are in your world, you are faced in a day with between 5,000 and 10,000 ads. So again, there goes more of your attention. And then finally, we have 24/7 access to information. There is no more wondering or going to an encyclopedia. We have Dr. Google. We have a way to find our answer at the touch of our hand and our phones by being able to search on that. So when you think of that, this age of information that we've just come out of, we are so bombarded by information. It's so noisy. How can you expect to cut through the clutter? So we're really in a war for attention. So what I'd like to introduce to you is the idea of using stories as a marketing tool. Now, this is not a new concept. We've been using a lot of stories within our business storytelling, within our business. People have been telling stories for a while. but I'd like to present a different way for you to think about what stories can be. And first, I'm going to give you a little lesson about why stories work. So this is a lesson in neuroscience for you today on a marketing or a marketing webinar. But our brains were designed to do two things. This is just a natural way our brains are designed. They are designed to first help us survive. So anything that surrounds us that is going to help us with food, clothing, shelter, being able to survive, it's going to grasp our attention. You know, anytime someone's talking about how to save money, how to save time, a particular type of way to stay healthy, all of those things attract our attention. And if you're not talking about or looking for something to help you survive, you're looking for something to help you thrive. So having meaningful relationships or having interests that entertain you. And anything outside of those two topics of things that will help you survive or help you thrive, your brain starts to shut down. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you are at some type, let's say you're at a dinner party or some type of family event, and you meet someone that you've never met before, and you ask them, so what do you do? And the first thing they say is, well, it's complicated. You know, my grandfather started the company 40 years ago. That has nothing to do with your survival. It has nothing to do with you trying to thrive. And so what happens is your brain starts to check out. It really takes a lot of attention to work and make your brain work to listen to what that person is saying. So you want to make sure that anything you're talking about in your marketing is really customer focused to help them learn to survive or help them learn to thrive. And the only exception to that is when we tell stories. Our brain is naturally wired to be pulled into a story. As soon as a story starts, and I want you to think about a movie. Think about when you start watching a movie, within the first 2 to 3 minutes, we know who the main character is, we know what they want, and a problem appears. If you watch a movie and that problem doesn't appear within that first 3 to 4 minutes, you're going to be sitting there thinking, what is the point? So as soon as that problem starts, we get pulled into the story. It's called opening a story loop. And that's why stories work, because humans are natural problem solvers. We want to put ourselves in the place of that main character. What would we do? How would we feel? Why is what's happening just wrong? And so that process is called narrative transportation. Narrative means story. And so immediately when a good story starts and that story loop opens, it sucks us in, our brain is sucked in, we are on point, and we're going to listen. And we put ourselves in the shoes of the main character in that story. So that's why storytelling in business is so important. It's how to attract people to get into the story that you're inviting them to. But here's the problem, is when it comes to business storytelling, most stories fail. And I'm going to tell you why. When people are standing up and talking about their business or having a conversation with you about their business, and they start into, I want to tell you a story. Well, at first we all lean in, because when we hear stories, we naturally want to know what is going on, what is the tension, what's going to happen. But when they start talking about themselves, what happens is companies make it all about them. And when they're doing that, they make themselves the hero. And when you're talking to a company who's talking all about themselves, how wonderful they are, how they're in the best places to work index, about how many years they've been in business, the audience is there thinking about, what does that have to do with me? That's really nice you've been in business that long, but that's your story. And I'm looking for someone to help me solve my problem and live out my story. So what I'm going to do today is give you 3 different stories that every business needs to tell. And it's going to help you attract the right clients. It's going to help you to increase your revenue, and it's going to help you to find the right talent for your business. So the first story I'm going to talk about is the customer story. And that's the one I was just referencing. is customer stories communicate the problem you solve and the value you bring. And when you build out a strong customer story, you can use it in about 40 different places. I've just put a few up here on the slide, but anything from your elevator pitch to your website copy, lead generators, those can be downloadable PDFs or checklist or assessment, something that you give someone of value. A webinar can be a lead generator. An open house can be a lead generator. Anything that's going to show and demonstrate your expertise to get people to see you have value to give them. That's a lead generator. Email campaigns. Boy, is this a timely topic right now. If you were anywhere awake yesterday, you found out that social media is not the only place to stake your ground, because Facebook went down, WhatsApp, Instagram went down for about 8 hours. And there's so many businesses that trust reaching out to the world through social media. People were having master classes and webinars through their Facebook groups. That did not happen during that time. So if you think about it, when you put all your eggs in the basket of social media, you are letting your audience live on someone else's platform. When you capture emails, then those are the people that you own in your business. So if you don't have an email list, I would highly suggest you start one, because your email list is your business. And if you don't know how to do that, please reach out to me. I'd love to help you. That is something I really strongly believe in. You can also use this customer-centric story on your sales pages. Have you ever been on a sales page where you read it and you get to the end and you're like, yes, I want to buy this? The reason why is they have spoken to you directly as a customer or a client, and they know the pain that you're in. They know how to help you solve it. Again, social media posts, even cover letters, meeting agendas, and I've even seen this method used with parents trying to talk with their teenagers and get them to do something. So there is a way to structure your stories where you make it all about your audience. Now, I'd like to show you a slide of what we would do in traditional marketing. So let's say you decided, okay, I'm going to put up a new website. I've got this great web designer and they're going to put up this slick website. I know I'm going to do lots of business. So your designer designs the website. It might look something like this. And what happens the first day it's launched, you're sitting there. You're waiting for your customers to come. You keep refreshing the screen, but nothing. So let's take a look at this website and what's going on here. So if you look at the title or the header on this hero shot, and the hero shot is what we call above the fold, your journey starts here. So, what does this business do? And I've shown this slide before. Now you'll see down in here that there is a person with a camera. So is this a photography website? Is it a travel website? Is it a website about a particular part of the world? Maybe it's something about global warming. We don't know. But we know it's artisan, innovative, and solutions. And then it asks us to learn more and get started. But I want you to notice in the upper right-hand corner, there is a prompt that says, why start? And that's exactly what people are thinking. Why should I start? I don't even know what you do. And here's the thing you need to know. When you have a website, you've got 3 to 5 seconds to capture the visitor's attention, or they're going to jump. So you want to make sure that, some things to improve on this website is you want very clear calls to action. So is it schedule a discovery call, book an appointment, learn more and get started are very passive. It doesn't really drive me to action. But those strong calls to action, we call them the cash register button. They're so important for you to be able to start doing business with people. How did they get started? That's what they're looking at. And so in this heroes section of your website, you wanted to do 3 things. You wanted to tell, what do you do? You want to relay, how does it make their life better? And the final one is a call to action. And those call to action buttons should be all the way down through your website. I think on my website, I've got about 7 call to action buttons. They're always the same thing. And the reason why they cascade down my homepage is people may not be ready to start doing business with me now when they see this hero shot. But as they move down the page, they might decide at that point, okay, I want to know more. All right. So we're going to take a look here at traditional marketing versus customer-centric marketing. So traditional marketing, remember when I talked about the brain, how if it's not helping you survive and thrive, you're making your brain work. So these are things that traditional marketing does to make their audience work. They try to be cute and clever. And, you know, I've worked with so many business owners who come up with this great tagline and they know what it means, but I don't know what it means. And it confuses people. So the company that has the clearest message will win. It's not the company that has the best product or service. It's the one that has the clearest message. So you want to get right to the point of it. What is it that you do? So let's get rid of the cute and clever, be very direct. Insider language. So, you know, we know that you're an expert in your business, but the thing is the person coming to you is not. So when you start using this insider language, technical terms, particularly people in technology, they really want to make sure that people know what an expert that they are. And there's a way to do that, but not initially. You've got to make it inviting. If you start using insider language, people are thinking, what does that mean? And you've left them behind, or they're working too hard and they just give up. People talk about features of what they sell. And again, I don't really care if, you know, it's a service that comes weekly. I don't care. All of those things. I need to know why it's important to me. Price. If you lead with price, and if people ask you how much you charge as one of the first questions, that's a good clue. People see you as a commodity. They don't see you as something special. So I'm going to tell you how to switch that up. When you talk about your loyal employees, the only person that's going to matter to is people that are looking for a job. So if you're looking for employees, that would be the place that you talk about how long your employee retention is. But if I'm a customer, I really don't care about your employees. I want to know how long your customers stay with you. And then if, again, best places to work, you know, that's nice and good, but for your clients, it has nothing to do with their story. All of these things confuse the audience. So what I'm going to show you is how you help them survive and thrive. So instead of being cute and clever, you want to be very clear about what you do. Instead of insider language, you want to make sure it's easy to understand. And here's what I propose to you. Make your language, make your message so simple, a 10-year-old boy could understand you. That's how simple you need to make it. Now, even if you offer a high-level product and your customers are very educated, they want to be able to understand it quickly and easily as well. So make it easy to understand. Talk about benefits. Why? How will their life be better? When people are buying your product or service, they're not buying the product or service. They're buying the transformation they will receive on the other side of using your product and service. So talk about their benefits, how their life will be better. Talk about value first before you even get into price, because when you build the value, what you're doing is justifying the price that you charge for it, and it's going to be very worth it. Again, talk about loyal customers over your loyal employees, unless you are speaking to a potential lead for a hiring situation. Talk about your customer experience rather than the best places to work. Again, make it all about them and make it very clear of how to work with you. So what I'd like to do is share with you a framework, and it's based on a book called Building a Story Brand, right there in front of my face, Building a Story Brand. It is by Donald Miller, and I will give you some information on it here. But the framework we use, and I am a Story Brand certified guide, so I've been certified in this framework. I've worked with it with my clients for the last 4 years, this is how stories go. And I'm going to use the example, a movie that a lot of people know. It's The Wizard of Oz. And so we're going to start with that. And if you don't know The Wizard of Oz, well, I'm going to tell you the story here in about 30 seconds. So the character is Dorothy, and she has landed in the land of Oz, and all she wants is to get back home. But the problem she has is the fact that she doesn't know how to get back home. She's landed in a place that's not familiar to her. how she's feeling. She's feeling very confused. She's overwhelmed. She doesn't have directions. And the philosophical problem is it shouldn't be so hard to be able to go back home. And then what we do is she meets a guide. And the guide in this case is Glinda the Good Witch, who comes floating out of the air. And Glinda says, I understand. She's very empathetic. And she says, I know all of these people. I know the way you need to go. And this is what your company needs to do. Your customer is your character who has a problem. And your company shows up not as the hero, your company shows up as the guide. They express empathy first, then you talk a little bit about your authority and your expertise in a very brief way, and then you move immediately on into giving them the plan. So Glinda tells Dorothy, it's very simple, my dear. You have these shoes and there's these ruby red slippers, and you're going to follow this yellow brick road to the land of Oz. So giving them a very clear 3-step plan and then calling them to action. It's now time to start your journey. It's time to book an appointment. It's time to schedule a discovery call. It's time to buy now. And it will result in painting a picture of what their life will look like on the other side of working with you, but also reminding them what's at stake if they don't work with you. So today I'm going to give you an opportunity. I've got a way for you to get all these notes and be able to work this in your business as well. So just hang on for those details. Whether you're live or whether you're on the recording, you will have an opportunity to do that. So these are the questions that you ask. What do our customers want? What are their 3 levels of problems? Have we positioned our brand as the guide to the hero and created a clear plan for that hero to win the day? Are our calls to action very clear? And have we helped our hero imagine? Your hero is your customer. You want to make them the hero. You want to make them win. Have we imagined how they can improve their lives and identified the consequences we're helping them to avoid? So this customer story will help you attract the right customers. It will help you close leads. And so if you want to know more about that, a couple of ways to do that is you can buy the book called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. It's a New York Times best-selling book. There is also an online course I'm going to give you information about today. If you're interested in that, that is one of the options in this course suite I'm going to tell you about. And then there's also StoryBrand presents a live stream 2-day workshop. The next 2-day workshop for that is December 6th and 7th. And it's 2 full days where Don teaches this framework and I am your coach and I lead you through this workshop. And at the end of the day, you have your brand script, which is what we just went through. You've got it right, you've got it tight, and you know that you're going to have it in a way to be able to use moving forward. So those are 3 options if you'd like to learn more about this customer story. So the next story I'd like to talk about is the story of why your business exists. And what it does, it helps you attract the right talent by aligning with their values. And boy, is this a timely story to have now. I know it's in every bit of media that we see is how we can't find people to work. You go into a restaurant, instead of having a wait staff, you've got a QR code and maybe you call in your order, or you're having to wait longer. The customer service isn't where you want it to be because people aren't trained. So here's what we know. In April, May, and June of this year, 11 million people left their jobs. 11 million. That's 10% of the workforce. And it's being called the Great Resignation. And it doesn't look like it's stopping. There's still more. Hiring managers are telling you there's still more coming. It's very hard to find workers. And the reason behind it, of what people are proposing, is people last year had a chance to pause and look at their life and say, what am I doing? Is this the type of life I want to live? Do I want to live on burnout? Do I want to work in a job that makes me miserable? Do I want to work in a job where I can't prioritize my family? So people are looking for meaningful work, and you have meaningful work to be done, but it's just communicating it in a way that people understand it could be meaningful to them and they can bring value in helping to deliver it. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that you talk about what does your business make possible. So back during the days when John F. Kennedy was president, there was a speech he gave that he challenged the American public to work together to put a man on the moon. And if you were to go to NASA in the years that followed, no matter whether you saw one of the engineers, whether you saw someone who was an executive assistant, a secretary at that time, or even a person pushing the broom, if you'd ask any of them, what are you doing? What do you do here? The first thing they would have said is, I am working to help put a man on the moon. There was a bigger purpose than having a clean floor or having an organized document or even making sure the formulas were right. Their purpose, why they were there, the little bit of things that they were doing were all contributing to help to put the man on the moon. So think about, what is the problem that your business solves and how does it help others succeed? So I heard this story recently from a gentleman who was working with a major paper products company. So, you're thinking about paper plates, paper cups, styrofoam cups, things like that. And they were working to try to attract the right talent. And so as they're working through their mission statement, they wanted to be the #1 paper products provider and be profitable. All right. Now, as an employee of that company, what does that have to do with me? Am I working to make money for you, to make you profitable? Well, yes, you really are. But why is what I do matters? So what they did is they reframed their mission. And instead of selling paper products, what they became is they became a company who helped families gather together and provide convenience. So if you're all about family and bringing families together, those paper products were a way to make that happen. So communicating your business mission does several things. It attracts talent, it brings in partnerships, people who want to work with you, and it attracts funding. So if you want to learn more about business stories, there is an online course called Mission Statement Made Simple. It's in a suite of other online courses, 9 different business courses, anything from a messaging framework to how to create proposals, to marketing made simple, communications, all of that. There is a 1-year subscription for that. Here is a code for you. This is an affiliate code connected to me, but it is a 1-year subscription. It is great professional development. And if you get this and you need help working through it, I certainly can help with that. Also, I can offer on-site workshops and coaching. And so as we get to our last type of story, it's the story of you. Now, remember, I talked about how you didn't want to position your company as a hero. But at the end of the day, when business does business with people or business with other businesses, we're doing business with humans. It's human to human. It's not B2C, it's not B2B, it's H to H, it's human to human. So how do we develop that story? So the story of you is about developing their personal brand. So think about it. I go to a local networking event. And when we do our elevator pitches, there are probably about 5 financial advisors in the room, about the same number of realtors. And you've gone to an event where there's someone who does what you do. So how do you stand out? You have to develop the ability for people to get to know you so they want to do business with you. They have to understand why you're doing what you do. They want to know, how do I do business with you and can I trust you? So developing that story of your personal brand is how to build the know, like, and trust factor. So what you do is, the story is not about you. It's not about you becoming a social media influencer. It's about telling the story and the path that you've traveled, because it's the same one your customers will travel behind you. It's the same one where you can help them solve their problems. Talk about how you've already overcome that problem, how you felt when you had that problem, what you did to make it work. And it's the same service or product that you provide and offer. And what it does, it attracts the type of customers who are going to say, I need that too. I need that too. I did a link on, or a post on LinkedIn this morning, and I've had several people reaching out and saying, I need this. I have the same problem you just described. So take a look at that. That'll give you an example. So to solve this, if you want to learn more, there is a book, a best-selling book by Mike Kim. I'll hold this one up. It's called You Are the Brand. It's the 8-step blueprint to showcase your unique expertise and build a highly profitable, personally fulfilling business. So you can either purchase the book. I also offer a 90-day business accelerator called The Difference Is You. And then I also offer personal brand coaching. So today, what I would love to give you, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching it on recording, is right now, I'd love you to pull out your phone, text the word story to 55444. And what I will send you is I will send you the customer story prompts from today's presentation, all those questions on the slide, and I'll show you how you can use those in your different marketing areas. And then I'm going to give people some time to watch the recording. So 4 weeks from today, I'm going to be doing a drawing for 3 things. I'm going to draw for the book, Building a Story Brand. Again, the Wall Street Journal best-selling book, Building a Story Brand, that will help you build your customer story. I will also give a 1-year subscription to Business Made Simple University. Again, that is a software, 9 courses, professional development. That is a $275 value. I would price it at well over $3,000, 10 times the value of that. And then I'll also give a copy of You Are the Brand. So make sure you text that word story to 55444 to be able to be part of that drawing. And I'm going to go on to another slide here. So if you do miss it, I'll come back to it in just a second. But when you do want to get a hold of me, my name is Lisa McGuire. I run Open Window Marketing. I also have a marketing consultancy as a business growth advisor. So what I do is I help service providers become the go-to experts in their marketplace. I provide marketing strategy, execution, personal brand coaching. This is my contact to connect with me on LinkedIn. I would love to have you connect me with on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram, pretty active there. 2 different email addresses to reach me and my phone number. So that is going to end my presentation, Samir, and I will stop sharing my screen and hand it back over to you.
Great, thank you, Lisa. A really thoughtful presentation. What I loved about the discussion there was, I feel like a lot of times people, especially when you're a small business and you related to it, I think all of our past speakers have, you're drowning in so many different things. What is the business and service I'm setting up? How do I set up an establishment? How do I get all my legal documents and orders? And so I think through a lot of those different efforts and what we've learned from our speakers, is that a lot of people can end up going through the motions of that. Of marketing to them is, I will place an ad somewhere, I will do a social media buy somewhere, and there's not a lot of thought and depth to, yes, my service is great, but how am I really telling the story of that service, and how is that connecting with the individual on the other side that is my customer? And then that customer journey is a process, right? So it's not that one engagement, but each engagement should be treated somewhat differently depending on how far through that marketing cycle they've experienced. So I think that's such a great kind of thought process, and why I was really enthused to have you on the call today. I think the other piece of that is just being so customer centric. I think a lot of companies can end up focusing on the company and it being virtuous and great. And like you said, I love the line about kind of those proprietary acronyms and the like. Obviously in government, we have a lot of acronyms. So we deal a lot with, in the real estate community and, RBA, rentable building area. There's a lot of these terms that, yes, it sounds very smart to you, but to someone maybe you're pitching your services to, right, it doesn't connect with them. They're not really sure how does that translate to their benefit. So I was really pleased to hear about that customer-centric approach, and also how you can leverage how you're telling your story to do talent acquisition. Part of Select Fulton, we do both economic and workforce development, because we recognize that companies can't be successful without a qualified and quality workforce. And really the paradigm on workforce has switched from individuals chasing companies to companies chasing people. And so while it is important to tell your story to customers, it can also be kind of a dual use in recruiting kind of the highest and best talent out there. So I thought another great recommendation, and obviously great recommendations beyond just what you've learned, but from others. And again, thank you for providing the books. Again, we will make sure to share this presentation and the recording with people that were able to attend today and those who couldn't join us as well. I know we have a little time just left. I did want to just throw out one or two questions. And if anyone in the queue wants to throw out a question, we're happy to answer those. But one I was just trying to think through, especially as we think about authentic messages. Being an elder millennial myself, what I've learned is millennials, supposedly, we like authentic stories. And I'm wondering if you've seen marketing and telling the story of your business continuing to grow as an important aspect. It's not about delivering the highest and best in terms of marketing, but it is really the marketplace, and that customer is evolving into more authentic stories, being a part of brands, understanding what brands stand for, and that's really what they're latching onto. So maybe you could speak to just the importance of that, of how customers are evolving, they're being more millennial, they want to be more engaged in the services they sign up for, and how this kind of fits into that.
Yes, great question, Samir. There's so many different layers of that onion to that, but hopefully this is not a stinky story. So yeah, what I would like to really bring out in that is you bring forth the idea of being authentic. And, you know, we have so many different generations in the marketplace right now. And if you look, the older generations tend to have been brought up where everything had to be polished. Everything had to be perfect. You know, we were brought up to be seen and not heard until everything was perfect and exactly the way it needed to be. But here's what people want. They want to make sure that the story you're telling, and when you're talking about your business, that you're really speaking to be authentic. They want to make sure that if you do make a mistake, you own it, you claim it. You know, we're humans, we do make mistakes, but here's what I'm going to do to make it better for you. And when you're talking about personal branding, so, you know, social media is so important right now. Video is so important. And many people, what I think is so great about Zoom is before Zoom, you had very few people willing to go on video. But now we've spent over 1.5 years looking at our faces on Zoom. We've gotten accustomed to that. But really putting yourself out there on video, being human, because at the end of the day, when someone is selecting, particularly if you're a coach or consultant, they're not just buying your service, they're buying you. So they want to get to know, do I like this person? Do I share their same values? And so if your company does stand for something, if your company supports a social cause, and you're finding a lot of people do that, you can attract people by sharing that type of authentic story. So did that answer your question?
No, that's perfect. And I totally agree. Again, as being an elder millennial myself, I find that experience of wanting to connect and understand my brand and being kind of proud behind the things that I sign up with. And it goes beyond just kind of business engagement, community involvement, places where I want to live and the like. So I just think there's so many opportunities for companies to, again, tell their story. I'm a big fan of MailChimp, who's big in the Atlanta market. What I love about the way they promote themselves is they promote Atlanta, and they talk about how great Atlanta is as a community, as a place to experience life. And then a part of that pitch is MailChimp is a great company. You could work for MailChimp. We have great services and the like. And so the story is not MailChimp. It is how the community they're involved with and the work what they do is what MailChimp is, less of just mass mail marketing firm, right? That's not as attractive. So I think it's such more of a compelling story. The only other question, I'll just leave you with this, is about channels of engagement. We kind of talked about there's traditional print media, there's social media. One of the things that we've taken on back when the world was open and we were doing trade shows and industry engagements, you know, we had unique promotional items. We had these nice custom socks that we would kind of do a behind the booth conversation. And it was just kind of a unique product that people wouldn't traditionally see, and something that could have benefit back at home, and just, again, something they could tell the story about. Are there kind of more unique channels? I mean, whether it's augmented reality, virtual reality, kind of where do you see the the future of where we can engage customers, and if there's different platforms or technologies or promotional items or the like that you see as kind of that unique future leading opportunity to engage with customers.
Yeah, so you bring up a great point there. And, the thing I want to bring up is not only has the world changed, but your customers have changed. We are not the same people we were in January or February 2020. We've experienced so many different things. And so really, I encourage businesses to dig in and really learn about their customers. What are the things that are getting in their way? What are their hurdles? How do they feel about them? And I feel like it's really important to take the time to interview your customers. In marketing, traditionally, we talk about creating ideal client avatars, where you name somebody and this is the kind of clothes they wear and this is the behaviors they have and all of that. That's all fine and good, but you're going to get so much further if you interview your customers. Take some time, set aside, take 15 minutes, find out why did they choose you as their vendor? What was the problem they had when they came to you? And I encourage people to actually record those interviews if they can, because you want to use those same words in how they speak about their problem and what they're experiencing and what they're looking for, because those are the words that will attract more people like them. So I want to encourage people to do the work on the front end. It's going to save so much time and energy and money later of trying all of these platforms to figure out where it is. And then also you want to really dig into. So if social media is a place that you want to be, and I would highly encourage people to be there, even after what happened yesterday with Facebook and Instagram, you still need to be there. But there is a method of working through to build those relationships. It's not just about selling on social media. It's about sharing the values of your company. It's about sharing some behind the scenes of what's going on. It's, as I was getting ready today for this webinar, I even recorded something on my phone. I'm getting ready to go on the webinar. I'm really excited about this. I'll be sharing that on my Instagram today so people can see, oh, this is what Lisa is like before she gets ready. This is what she's doing. But making sure that you are on the platform where your customers are. So if you are a business that sells maybe, let's say, things to parents, you probably are not going to find your customers a strong contingent on LinkedIn. If you are marketing to women, there's a lot of women that are on Pinterest. If you're marketing to a certain generation, there's a lot of people that are in the younger generations that are on Instagram, although that is growing. Twitter, you've got people who want to come in with little snippets of information. So make sure where you are putting your marketing dollars are the right platform. The other thing I want to encourage people is, as we have kind of quarantined, we are less willing to have long conversations. So if there's information I want, then I would suggest putting a chat bot on your website where people can ask questions and get answers pretty quickly. If someone fills out the contact form on your website, oh, I see this so often. People fill out the contact form, they never hear from anyone. So on your website, make a commitment. If you leave your name and contact information, we will get back to you within 24 hours, and follow that. But again, I just really encourage people to be present as humans, show up on video. And the thing, Samir, I did want to circle back around on video. When you're on video, people become very, they start scrutinizing themselves of how they look. No one cares. When you're on video, it's all about your customers and your clients and the value you can bring them. And so that's how we need to show up in the world. What do they need? Figure out the platforms that are going to give them the value and deliver it fully.
Yeah, it's a great point. Something, right? That's why I'm a layman or a non-marketer, is I wouldn't think, let's make sure that the platforms I'm using is exactly the same platform my customer is actually engaging on. And that could help lead me down the pathway instead of trying to decide what I think is best in a, kind of sporadic comparable basket there. So great idea. Well, I know we're running out of time here, and I'll probably have some additional questions. Again, we'll make sure to send a follow-up of this video and contact information for Lisa after the presentation today. So again, I just want to thank you, both Lisa McGuire and Commissioner Ellis, for joining us today. Everyone that did register for the event will get a follow-up email and recording of today's event, as mentioned. You can check our schedule of events on selectfultoncounty.com/entrepreneur. Another quick recommendation was one of the first quarterly webinars that we have is to go and visit selectfultoncounty.com/sizeup. SizeUp is a powerful small business intelligence tool that is provided free on behalf of Fulton County. It enables you as a small business or an entrepreneur to put in 2 data points: your industry code, so if you're a service restaurant or if you're going to open a yoga facility, you can get fairly granular, and location. So one of the 15 cities inside Fulton County, everywhere from Atlanta up to Milton down to Chattahoochee Hills. You put in those 2 data points and you can really get granular data locally of ranking your business performance compared to industry competitors in the area. So if I was a yoga studio in Alpharetta, I could get comparable data to say, when did most yoga studios in Alpharetta open? What is their average revenue? What is the average size of the employee count? And that way you can really measure yourself against other industry professionals to see if you're ahead or behind the curve. And really what I love about this tool is, especially for those at the SBDC and others who work with businesses to understand how do they enter the marketplace, it gives you that upfront market information that a lot of the more corporate entities have access to understand, again, could I be a viable business in this marketplace? So a very powerful tool, selectfultoncounty.com/sizeup. We will have our next and final event for the year on tax planning in December 7th. So it'll contemplate not only small business end of year tax planning, but especially for those that leveraged any of the federal stimulus legislation like the PPP loans or EIDL grants, help you understand how you can account for those as a part of your tax planning and close out for the 2021 year. So again, thank you everyone for joining us. Have a great and positive and rain-filled Tuesday, and look forward to joining us again back in December. Thank you for your time.